Hey everyone, this is Rock from StageandSky.com. Here I expound on the second of 8 main points I've personally observed to explain how one thing after another has sabotaged my generation of dating. And at the end of each section, I'll try my best to provide a solution because I know these sound like excuses, but I haven't given up, alright? I still have faith. Alright, the first one was the hookup culture, which is, I already have a video out and I have the essay down below, feel free to check it out. This one is going to be focused on Tinder and dating apps, okay? Because I mean, let's face it, this is a huge difference between the generation of the past, like my grandfather, my father's generation, and my generation. A lot of us are millennials, so we grew up, half of us in the 90s, so we grew up before the age of the internet, and then we grew up where the internet entered our lives, and we just had to adapt. I think that for the future generations where you're born and raised in the internet culture, I think they might have a better time. I don't know, that's to be seen, okay? So, I'll never forget back in 2012 when a girl vying for my interest, she told me about Tinder. With a smile on her face, she said, "Rock, have you heard about this app called Tinder?" I was like, "No, what is it?" She said, "It's a dating app that basically shows you the location of the people in your area who want to have sex with you. You just pull it up, and if you check them off and they check you off, you can meet and have sex." Right, so this is the look on my face. When she's telling me this, first off, we work together. She told me this in the office. So I'm like looking at her like, what? You know, and I just remember thinking, what is wrong with you people? You know, this was back before I read the Bible, back before I became super religious. My first initial reaction to this was, this is a dumb idea. But again, I couldn't articulate why. And if everyone else is cool with it and I'm the only one who has a problem with it, maybe the problem's me, right? Okay, so years later, my boss on the radio show, we used to have a radio show, he used to say, "Rock, you know, your generation has it so much easier than my generation. You guys have apps where you can find women and introduce yourself with just a click of a button. Back in my day, we actually had to walk up and talk to women and put forth an effort to ask her on a date." And he said that with pride, right? As if us guys wish we couldn't go back to that time. All right, by then when he was telling me this, so this is about, I would say 2017, he starts talking to me about this. By then I had enough information to school him on some key issues this guy may be overlooking. He was born in 1963, all right? So he's of that generation. Check out this clip for a second, just see what I mean. See where I'm going with this. Nice to meet you.
I think you two are really cute together.
Are you unsure?
Yeah, like I did like him a lot, but also I don't want to not leave my options open, I guess.
She was really connecting with Xavier.
But did you get rid of Xavier? You connected?
I just wanted to see who else was here.
Would you like to see Xavier again?
Yeah.
I do have to hit the button though. I don't play second chances. In that clip, the woman admits that she liked that guy. But guess what? She impulsively rejected him out of this stupid fear of missing out, of wondering, could she do better, of wanting to leave her options open. She's one of millions who think like this. Remember my classroom analogy from the hookup culture video? In my classroom analogy, I have a classroom with 20 students. We have 10 boys and 10 girls, all right? We tell them, these are your only options. 20 students, 10 boys, 10 girls, your only options. There aren't any more classrooms. The 10 girls will probably want the 2 hottest guys, sure. But once the 2 guys are taken, the other 8 will have no choice but to go for the 8 remaining boys who are still single. Thus, families are formed. We get together, all right? People are content with what they have. They're not looking for if they could do better because they got no more options. But thanks to the hookup culture, the 10 girls are having sex with the top 2 or 3 guys, men who have no incentive to commit to any of them. And thanks to the dating apps, it's opened those 10 women in that one classroom to endless classrooms. With dating apps, there are hundreds of options at her fingertips. I've even had ladies personally reach out to me from out of state, like from North Carolina. I mean, I'm like, why would you, like, are there no guys in your state, in your city? Now, this has made a lot of women of my generation very selective, and not in a good way. Because I believe in being selective when it comes to finding your partners based on the right virtues and shared values and character. But no, with the selectiveness of today's women, I've seen women reject men because of something as trivial as wearing a baseball hat backwards. And here you see women just going through men's social media profiles and just rejecting them for the dumbest stuff, okay? Don't get me wrong, dating apps have succeeded in bringing a lot of couples together, so I can't say that it's completely useless. The problem is that there are just too many stupid people like the lady above with the abundancy mindset. Oh, I wanna, leave my options open. Oh, I wanna, see what else is good. Meaning, you found the good guy. You found the right guy who would have been the perfect husband for you, but you're just rejecting him because you want to see what else is out there.
The husband store. This is the mind of an Eternal 7. A brand new store has just opened in New York City that sells husbands. When women go to choose a husband, they must be able to abide by the following instructions. You may visit this store only once. There are 6 floors, and the attributes of the men increase as the shopper ascends. There is, however, one catch. You may choose any men from a particular floor, or you may choose to go up to the next floor, but you cannot go back down except to exit the building. Those are the rules. So, a woman goes into the husband store to find a husband. On the first floor, the sign reads, Floor 1, these men have jobs and love kids. She looks around and says, oh, great, have jobs and love kids. But she decides to, instead of picking a man here, go up to floor 2 because the quality of men keeps ascending as she goes up. She knows the rules. Time is ticking. The second floor reads, these men have jobs, love kids, and love God. She likes this floor, but instead her curiosity is getting the better of her. Floor 1 was good, floor 2 was better, gotta see floor 3. Floor 3 reads, these men have jobs, love kids, love God, and are extremely good looking. Jackpot, floor 3. But if this is what's happened by floor 3, what do you think happens? She keeps on going. Wow, she thinks. But she feels compelled to keep going. So she goes to the 4th floor and the sign reads, these men have jobs, love kids, love God, are drop dead gorgeous, and will help with housework. That's on the 4th floor. 2 floors left, but on the 4th floor. Oh, mercy me, she exclaims. I can hardly believe it, but still. She goes to the 5th floor and the sign reads, these men have jobs, love kids, love God, are drop dead gorgeous, help with housework, and have a strong romantic streak. They can put it down, and they're romance guys. She is so tempted to stay. But then she goes to the 6th floor and the sign reads, you are visitor number 4,363,012 to this floor. There are no men on this floor. This floor exists solely as proof that women are impossible to please. Thank you for shopping the husband store. Goodbye.
The women of my bossy generation didn't have so many options easily accessible. My mother got with my stepdad because he lived across the street. My boss, the attorney, he met his wife because a friend set them up. Another boss who I worked for, he got with his wife because they went to the same high school together, so they just stayed in contact. Couples got together and they stayed together because their pool of options was usually limited to the community or circle of friends they rode with. At the very least, they weren't so quick to dismiss or flake on them. Ladies and gents, this easy dismissal, the rejection of others, it's made my generation more callous than ever before, okay? When you have so many options, a list of men and women ready and waiting to sleep with you, you become almost like a cold-hearted businessman, you know, just firing people to increase your own profits. It's not personal, you know, you're told that all often. It's not personal. She's just doing what's best for her. He's doing what's best for himself, right? Flaking on people and standing them up or never returning their phone calls, you do this enough time, you become desensitized to hurting others or disregarding others, whether it was intentional or not, okay? And trust me when I say my generation, they're encouraged to be this way. They're supposed to, it's supposed to be all about empathy and feelings, right? But when it comes to dating, they don't give a boom. You know, like it's all about you. Don't believe me? Check out It's Complicated YouTube channel. I have his page up right here so you can look at it, and I have a link down below. But I mean, this guy, he goes and conducts street interviews about today's dating scene. And if you just watch 2 or 3 of his videos, you'll see for yourself how there's very little, what can I do for others, and more, what can I get others to do for me? Nothing wrong with that, right? You're just putting yourself first, right? Because so many of these ladies have this abundancy mindset, a lot of men, we're checking out of dating. We're checking out of online dating sites. This is just a graphic here, right, where it just shows the experiences of men and women on Tinder. And there's another one that came out years ago when it comes to OkCupid. Basically, from the OkCupid studies, it showed that a majority of men, they're swiping right on women, and they're basically saying, yeah, you're hot enough for me to date you. But the vice versa isn't happening. A majority of women are basically saying that majority of men are unattractive, which makes sense. Men aren't supposed to be, like we can't all be Brad Pitts out here. We were valued for other things more than our looks. If it's just looks, yeah, some of us might be blessed in those areas, but then those who are blessed with those areas, who are super good looking, they're also terrible at other things, like they can't get their hands dirty, right? So the dating apps is just ruined and warped you know, what women used to look for when it comes to men. Whereas men, we're super generous. It's to the point where we're just taking anything. Not me, but a lot of men are like that. As you can see from this chart, a lot of men, they're on the dating apps, they just see it as a waste of time. And as much as women like to say, you know what, I want a man who's confident. Well, confidence comes from knowing you're worth a damn, all right? Because that's a double-edged sword. Oh, I want a man who's confident. Well, do you think I'm confident? Dude, all right, let me tell you this way. I've had several people in the past year or so try to connect me, I won't say hook up, but connect me with a woman. Oh, Rock, I know someone would be perfect for you. And then when they introduce me to this woman that they think I'm perfect for, like she's overweight, or she doesn't take good care of herself, or she just looks so hazard. And I'm like, I'm looking at the guy who's trying to hook me up with this girl. I'm like, dude, am I ugly? Like, do you think that that's what I'm, like, that's the best I can do? Like, that's my level. Is that what you're telling me? Like, I want to ask these guys and females who try to hook me, oh, I know a female friend who would be perfect for you. And they're so, I mean, dude, I'm like, dude, would you have sex with this person? No. Then what makes you think that I would want that? Confidence is knowing that you're worth a damn. So if you say that, oh, I want a man who's confident, well, you got to build yourself up too. Okay, let me keep going, okay, because I can go off on a tangent there. Confidence is self-respect, where you know you've built yourself up, all right? You know you've been hitting the gym. You know you've saved up. You work for everything you got. Confident men aren't just going to accept anything simply because it's all we can get. What do I mean?
Women equating their hookup options to their actual value. Just about every average woman, and in fact even some below average women, have access to regular intimacy and hookups from the guys at the top. Chad is shared between everyone. Now what this means is the women in the middle end up thinking this: well, I can hook up easily with Chad. However, Chad doesn't want to commit. Therefore, all I need to do is just find one that will commit.
And that's because Chads and Tyrones, they're giving up, I mean, they're not going to give up on that easy sex, right? If a 5 or 6 comes at them and, you know, he hasn't been laid in a while, he's not going to tell her no, unless he's a Christian man or a good person. You know, a lot of these guys out here, there's no incentive. They're just going to hit it and quit it. And because these women, these 5s and 6s are dating or hooking up with the 10s, they think they're on that level. Oh, I got with the 10 last week. I'm not going to go with the 5 or 6 who's going to treat me like a future wife and marry me and stay committed to me. No, I think I can go for 9 or 10. That's what they're thinking. Thus, when these ladies encounter someone who's actually on their level in terms of attractiveness, because she's had access to the 9s and 10s, she'll pass over all the men on her level because she thinks she can do better. She thinks that just because a man will have sex with her, he'll commit to her. Ladies, if you never heard this before, or this is the first time you're hearing this, beware. Beware, okay? For the sake of sex, a lot of men will be with you and not like you as a person. All right, that's why these dudes will often cheat on you. 2, have side pieces. 3, come through whenever they want some. Hey, can you want Netflix and chill? You know, and they won't stick around for something that's super important, like if you needed them to just lean on or some kind of encouragement. No, they come through whenever they want some. Or 4, they'll ghost you after several dates.
Sometimes gone on 3 dates with a guy to like make it seem like you don't want to like be too easy on the first date. And then once we have like after 3 dates or however many dates, they will ghost me.
You don't say. For those of us men who are 7 to 8s, the average guys out here working and just doing a 9 to 5 trying to get by, I know society's doing this damnedest to program these men, us, into accepting these 3s and 4s out here, okay? The ones who are overweight, or they're single mothers, or they're past their prime. Sad to say, I'm not trying to be demeaning to ladies, but we're just trying to be honest, right? We're being straightforward. We're putting all the cards on the table, okay? Now, there are a lot of ladies out here who are 3s and 4s, and they think they're, gosh, Coach Greg says, he calls them 49ers, where you're 4 and you think you're 9, okay? Now, I know society, they're doing this damnness to program us men into accepting 3s and 4s, and in some cases it's working. But personally, if I don't find you attractive, then I don't want to have sex with you. If I don't want to have sex with you, then there's no carrot at the end of the stick that's driving me to want to build a relationship with you. This is just common sense, and it's always been this way. Like, I know our society, you know, oh, we're on the right side of history. I keep hearing that stupid saying, oh, do you want to be on the right side of history? Are you in the right mind frame? Are you thinking the right thoughts? And it's all because of the mainstream current culture. And it's like, what if our culture today is wrong? Okay? We think we know better than those who have been like our ancestors. And okay, let me just keep going. The first time I ever tried online dating was OkCupid back in 2014. I was 28, and almost immediately I recognized that it was having an effect on me, okay? The pro was that it gave me hope because I don't put myself out there by going to bars or social events. So I don't have a lot of opportunities to meet new women. I'm a workaholic, right? So I work all the time. So, you know, like when you work all the time, the only women that are available to you are women who you work with. And very often it has a way of playing tricks in your mind where it's like, man, I guess these are the only women who are out there. And it's like, no. You know, online dating shows you that there are plenty of beautiful women in your vicinity, okay? That's why I use Instagram too, because that reminds me, oh yeah, there's beautiful women out there, so don't just, you know, like, because a lot of men, like, we're suckers to loneliness too, you know? Like, we don't want to be alone forever. So sometimes a lot of men, especially men who start to lack confidence and start to lack self-esteem, which I think society's working on to basically keep them in that mind frame, that mindset, they will, you know what, this girl's showing me interest. It doesn't matter if she's overweight, doesn't matter, you know, all these things, these red flags, it doesn't matter. I'm just happy to have anyone. So a lot of guys are like that. Go for it, okay? But the effect that it's having on me was that the pro was that it just gave me hope and that, okay, there's other beautiful men out there. Just keep your head up, keep, you know, building yourself until you find one. Here's another effect, a couple more effects. That was the positive. So I started with the positive. It's not all negative, right? The negatives, well, for one, for all the talk about empowerment and not wanting to be objectified, it was weird being on an online dating site.
Yeah, I've never used a dating app because I haven't been single when that was popular. But it is amazing you can just like throw people's faces away like they're garbage.
Yeah,
until you pick the one you want to bang.
Right. Yeah.
That seems bad.
Yeah. Wait, I'm sorry, Dave. Let me. You're saying that objectifying women and just picking the one that you would like to bang is a bad thing.
Correct.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear.
It seems
it is a bad thing.
Counterintuitive to a feminist movement.
It
does
seem counterintuitive.
And another effect that online dating sites was having on me, I'm just going to be completely honest here because honesty is important, was the resentment. You know, when I was on those online dating sites, you know, I started to resent women, if I'm being completely honest. You know, when you're sending them letters and you're trying to reply and you're trying to message them and no one's responding to you. And then, because I had an ego about me, you know, like, I'm a good looking dude. I built myself up. I deserve blank, you know. And then when you don't get blank, so you start to lower your own standards and just start approaching and messaging anyone. And then, you know, it's like, really? You're going to reject me? When Elliot Rodger went on a killing spree back in May of 2014, it pissed me off so much because as horrible as it was that he robbed 7 people of their lives, he left this manifesto where he complained about being rejected by women. I remember reading, I didn't read the whole thing. It wasn't until like Stefan Molyneux read it and I heard exactly what he was complaining about. But just the fact that he complained about being rejected by women and that's why he shot up all these people, it made me mad because it's like, dude, I mean, welcome to the real world. All the guys have to deal with that. And yeah, we do feel a little bit of resentment, but you don't go and kill people because of that. He was perhaps one of the first people to be labeled an incel. This is involuntarily celibate. And I mean, as far as I've seen, you know, back in 2014. And I remember it made me mad because in truth, I understood his frustrations, all right? When you're rejected by girls or girls don't even respond to your messages because they're so supposedly overwhelmed by the amount of men flooding their inbox, I'm not even talking about hot women. I'm talking about the most basic, average women who wouldn't even catch my eye if they weren't on an online dating site. To be rejected and ignored by the likes of them really made me start to resent women. I understand it. But Elliot Rodgers, he could have done as James Damore did and wrote and published his thoughts and experiences to start a conversation about an issue that was affecting a lot more men than just himself and just society at large. But instead, he resorted to a shooting that forever demonized men who so much as complained about the same issues he faced. I was told, Rock, you shouldn't take online dating personal, but I did, man. I mean, how you not? Online dating brought my respect for women down drastically, and that's not good. So after just like a few months of trying online dating back in 2014, I deleted all my profiles and I started using them, and I stopped using them. Maybe I just wasn't ready, right? Maybe I lacked the maturity or the experience to be on the online dating sites. Then, 7 years later, this is in 2021, my boss, he's an attorney, he convinced me to give it another shot. He even gifted me the money for the first 3 months, and he called it the Fine Rock of Wife Fund. I was 35 years old. So, I tried online dating sites again. The first one I tried was Bumble. The reason why I like Bumble was because having been falsely accused of sexual harassment in my 20s, I thought it was an awesome concept. For those who don't know, this is a dating app where men can't message the women unless they both like each other. Meaning, if I like a woman, I can't message her first. She has to like my profile after I liked her in order for us to send messages to each other. And I'm like, perfect. Because how do you confuse my intentions there? You know, how do you accuse me of sexual harassment there? You know, so I'm like, I like this concept. But for 3 months with me being on Bumble, out of the hundreds of women I liked, only 3 women liked my profile. Just 3. You know, that's kind of a slap in the face. But I bear in mind that I am in Tampa. So if I'm being completely honest here, like I might be an 8 in Georgia, but in Tampa I might be a 5. You know, this is where the Backstreet Boys were, you know, came out of. You know, like we have the beach here, so they have hundreds, if not thousands, of, I would say, better looking, more chiseled boat riding surfer boys here than myself. So whatever, I didn't take it too personal. At the same time I was on Bumble, I paid for Match.com, and eventually I would try eHarmony, but honestly Match.com was the best. All right, I was surprised that I got a lot of attention, right? I had a lot of ladies like my profile, despite my Christianity being up on my profile. You know, I struck up talking phases with about 5 ladies, and they weren't bad. You know, they were beautiful. They were young, so they were childbearing, and I think they would have been good mothers. They're just they were corrupted by some of the other issues plaguing my generation, like feminism. They assume that because I'm black, I'm on board with all things left-leaning, despite my profile strongly displaying how I live by Christ's standards. But that's another folly that my generation has to deal with, where, oh, you know, I'm left-leaning and I believe that everyone should live however they want, but also I'm a Christian. It was like, well, you know, there's 1 Corinthians chapter 6 verse 9 through 11 where it says, do you not know that these will not enter the kingdom of heaven? So if you call yourself Christian and you advocate everyone, oh, do whatever makes you happy, like there's a conflict there. Okay, I'll just keep moving on. On that note, when it comes to dating sites, most of us don't know what the hell we're doing when it comes to advertising ourselves or what to put on our profiles, okay? A lot of us just imitate what we've seen from others or advice that we heard from others, failing to consider the fact that those others are not us, right? If you're a 9 or 10, you might get away with, you know, not putting anything in your profile, but if you're a 6 or 7, you might need to put a little bit more details and say, hey, this is how cool I am, okay? Not to mention, like, if you take advice from a hot guy, and he says, yeah, these are pickup lines that you say to women. It's like those pickup lines might work for him. He's hot. You know, let's not act like women aren't just as shallow as the rest of us guys, all right? If a hot guy comes up to you and says some lame nonsense pickup line, you're gonna be like, oh, okay, and be gushing over him because he's attractive. And we understand, okay? We get it. This may feed into one of the main reasons why a lot of women use dating sites, okay? Because I've seen plenty of videos where women confess that they don't actually use it to find dates or start relationships. That's not why they use dating apps. A lot of them use it to boost their own self-esteem from all the attention and validation that they're getting from the dozens of men vying for their attention. So like the Bumble app that I was using, where I was liking all these profiles, a lot of women could be just checking out their Bumble like, oh, look at him wearing his suit and he's tall and he's 6'3". Man, someone like him is interested in me? Okay, now you walk out a door with this high self-esteem based off my like. You know, I know that sounds dumb, but that's what, I mean, welcome to millennials, okay? It's like a shot of instant feel-good Kool-Aid that they take in the morning and at night, especially when they feel like no one wants them in real life. All right, they go through the whole day without receiving a single compliment because we live in today's generation, you know, or no male attention, and they use the online dating sites as just that validation, that attention, okay? Another problem with these dating sites is that no one really knows what anyone wants when we're building our profiles, all right? We've been told by our cultural leaders and influencers that men want this or that women want that, but those people are usually not the average James and Joes just looking for a normal, stable relationship.
On point, like look-wise, and then her personality. Smart, someone funny, yeah, someone pretty.
What about the height?
Height? Yeah. That doesn't bother me, really.
Her being nice and taking care of me. What women think matter to men actually don't. We don't care about your money. We don't care that you're independent. We don't care you are a quote-unquote boss bitch. Like, no one cares about any of that.
Loyalty. I would need my woman to be my friend because I don't just want to be with someone that I don't get along with.
As long as you're mellow and you're chill. I like a girl that doesn't fuck with nobody. I don't want no girl that has a bunch of thought-ass friends. I don't want none of that shit.
Being feminine, nurturing, and taking care of their husbands and kids is not because they're being manipulated or taken advantage of. That is what women should be. To be feminine and nurturing, take care of their family, while the husband protects, leads, and provides.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's a huge problem. I mean, you look at YouTubers, you look at, you know, all of, you know, the talking head shows. They're celebrities. They're rich. They're good looking. They're not us. All right? So everything I'm going to say from here on out is leading to the main point of just be yourself, right? That's my main point. If that's one of the, I'm jumping ahead when it comes to solutions, but that's my main solution. Allow me to continue. Personally, I'm very upfront. That's myself. I'm very upfront. I reveal a lot about the kind of guy I am and what to expect from a guy like me. I would think that alleviates a lot of tensions and anxieties because, oh, you know what to expect. I'm telling you upfront. But according to a lot of people, I've been told that this is a bad thing. They say it's over-communication. They say that a man shouldn't reveal too much, that women like mystery, that they like the thrill of adventure of getting to know someone or pulling back the layers like we're a bunch of onions or something. Listen, if you're that guy or you're the kind of woman who's into that, all power to you. But at the end of the day, it's always been my belief to just be yourself. If she likes mystery and vagueness, she's not gonna like me. I'd much rather find that out sooner than later how compatible we are. But Rock, if you're too upfront, you might scare her off, and good. Seriously, I don't say that to sound callous or act like I don't care. I just believe that if you're wearing a mask and putting on a performance from the get-go, you're creating illusion. You're giving her an impression of someone you're not. And yeah, you could keep up that act to the point that even when she finds out who you are, she's not going to care because she's formed emotional attachment to you via sex. But that's not the kind of guy I am. I don't engage in hookup culture. So either I'm going to get tired of putting on the act, or she's going to see me for who I really am and say that cliche line, "You're not who I thought you were," before breaking up with me. So just be yourself, ladies and gentlemen. It's the smartest, wisest, most efficient thing. Not to mention every girlfriend I've personally ever had, I got her just by being myself. I hid nothing. I was upfront and honest, and she was the same with me. I'll never forget my dad asking me, "Well, Rock, how would you feel if your girl started talking about wanting a family and kids, or how she was a virgin, or how many sexual partners she had on your first date?" I was like, dude, I'd love that. All right, I know that might scare off a lot of other dudes, but not me. I like people who like to talk to me. All right, the sooner you open up to me, the sooner I start to draw close to you. On that note, I have to bring up Think Before You Sleep, one of his most recent videos, because it spoke volumes to the kind of women I personally met through online dating. It makes it all clear that it's not all women, just make that clear. But from my own personal experiences, it comes from online dating. You know, like they have this chip on their shoulder, like, oh, I can get any man I want because of online dating. So they don't have a personality. Right? Like they don't know how to have conversations, or when they do talk to you, it's such a turnoff. It's like, dude, like what planet are you from?
So tell me about yourself.
Well, which part? It's a broad question.
Where are you from?
Philippines.
Philippines? When did you come over here, or were you born here?
No, I came here when I was 9.
These two are not vibing at all, and this conversation is super awkward. Very direct, short answers with no elaboration or push towards a more interesting facet of the small talk. Very emotionless, and this conversation feels very much like work.
How about you?
Well, I'm born and raised in western suburbs.
Okay.
Mum's German. My dad's great-granddad's a convict, so half really Australian, half German.
Beautiful. Have you visited back in Germany?
No, I think it's still a bit too risky.
Really?
Blonde hair, blue eyes.
Oh, that's still a thing? Is that an assumption, or is that a real fact? Okay.
So I'll stay away from there.
I think that was supposed to be a World War II joke, but she doesn't really get it, or she doesn't think it's funny. This guy actually tries to throw out a number of jokes, and every single time she either doesn't get it or berates him for it.
Are your piercings visible right now?
Yes.
They are? Yeah. So just that, nothing lower?
Is that a common thing for women to pierce lower?
I mean, belly button?
No.
No, alright then.
Is that a thing for you? Is that a fetish? Is that why you're asking, or?
More curiosity.
Curiosity.
So.
What does that tell you about a person? Why is it a specific question you chose to ask?
Adam Carolla used to refer to this as playing handball against the drapes. If you aren't American, handball is a game where you hit a ball against a wall, and the ball bounces back at you. Now, if you were to hit that ball against curtains or drapes, it would just fall flat on the floor instead of bouncing back, making the game no fun to play. That's what this conversation feels like. Patrick tells a joke or asks a fun question, and Davina just turns it into nothing. Obviously, what Patrick was trying to do is turn the conversation a tiny bit sexual, which is perfectly normal. I mean, we know what goes on in relationships. But she turns that into, oh, so you're some sort of weird creep who has a fetish for piercings.
Just from that, I mean, you see a lot of people just have very poor social skills, or rather, wait for it, they have only the social skills needed to get a specific type of man. Hip-hop oriented, the fuckboys, Chads, the Tyrones, the guys who aren't interested in relationships. right? Ladies, how many times? Oh, I've been ghosted. Or, you know, I couldn't find the right guy. It's like, do you have the social skills to find the right guy, to weed him out, right? A lot of the people who say, oh, well, you're over communicating. A lot of those people who say that, they're not interested in relationships. You know, they just want to get laid, right? And then maybe down the line, after getting laid, they might get to know you, and then yeah, the communication starts to come out, right? But a lot of us who are upfront about who we are and we just open to talking, to having conversations with you, that's how you can tell that guy is ready for a relationship or that girl is looking for a relationship. In the video, the guy asked Davina a question, and she just keeps making every question into an argument, like very standoffish. She gives short answers before questioning. All right, why are you asking that question? Things like, do you have a problem with that? Why would you say that? These kinds of conversations aren't romantic or pleasant. She doesn't have an ounce of empathy, kindness, or understanding, but clearly she conveys a high standard that she has for herself and expects a lot if you want to get with her. And expects a lot if you want to get with her. Now, to be fair, from watching that video, you can tell that a lot of men, they deserve some to blame here. If men complain that women have high standards and they act all entitled, it's because other men have enabled this behavior. I issue not. At the end of that video, the guy ends up picking this girl, the Davina, this gold digger, over a yoga. Watch the whole video because it's just gonna blow your mind. But he ends up picking this gold digger over a yoga practitioner who likes to cook, clearly has a pleasant personality, down to earth, and she was clearly into him. This guy was looking for a hookup, more so than a relationship, and he's gonna pay the price. All you guys are, right? It might sound good and fun now, but it's gonna pay off. And then you're gonna come to the manosphere, you're gonna come to Red Pill, dude, man, these girls aren't loyal. And it's like, dude, what did you expect? Dummy? All right, okay. Seriously, I don't know about love language or anything like that, but when a woman knows how to have a decent conversation and is open to telling me intimate details about herself so soon in a relationship, again, I know a lot of men might see that as a red flag or a turn off, but it's actually, for me, the quickest way for me to draw close to you, okay? Because it shows that you're entrusting me with something, and I honored that, right? One of my first committed relationships was when I was 27. For the purpose of these videos and essays, I like to call her Alice. Alice didn't know me. Like, we had only seen each other in passing. But she basically found out it was my birthday, and she used that opportunity to send me a text message because we worked together. So it was an IM text message of happy birthday. And dude, I had seen her in passing, so I knew she was smoking hot. So I engaged her in conversation. That conversation lasted the whole night. And in that very first conversation, she learned my pen name. She found out I was an author. She Googled me, right? All of these things that all the cultures, oh, that's stalking, that's too much. She found my website. She found my Amazon page, and I'm like, awesome. I like that. I like that she did that. It shows that you're interested in wanting to get to know me. Yeah, she could just ask you, Rock. Dude, it's on the internet. If you got a Facebook page, guess what? I'm checking that shit out, all right? I'm sorry. I'm checking that out, all right? And in that conversation, I found out that she was a single mother. I found out she aspired to be a realtor, and she came from a Puerto Rican, El Salvadorian background. We had that first conversation on a Wednesday. I called her that Friday, and I was like, hey, how would you like to be my girlfriend? She laughed and was like, really? But we haven't even gone on a date yet. I was like, I know, but we will. She's like, well, I'd love to be your girlfriend. All right, I'll see you soon. On our very first date that Monday, I met both her daughter and her mother when I came to pick her up. And it was cool. You know, there was no awkwardness because she already told me so much about herself that I knew her well. Alice and I had a great relationship. Even when we broke up, we reconnected years later, and we still hit it off as friends. To this day, I wish nothing but the best for her, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't have any regrets. Alice isn't the one who got away, but she's definitely the one who could have been. The point is, be yourself. Everybody's different. I agree with the notion of improving who you are to increase your chances, but not at the risk of destroying your authentic self. Alright? Just because millions think the Kardashians hot, it doesn't mean we all think that, or we all want to marry that. Alright, you could be a down-to-earth Christian girl who'd rather cozy up to your man on the couch than go out dancing, but if you present yourself in a 304 uniform and post a lot of pics like you live in a club, men are going to assume that you're about that life, a lifestyle we don't want to be part of or we can't provide for you. You might be surprised to learn that a lot of men are just actually looking for chill, down-to-earth homebodies, alright? If you're only mimicking what some influencer told you, are you really you? Are you one in a million? Or are you working so hard to become one of the millions? That's something I like to think about, you know, like, are you really you, which is one of a million because there's only one you out there, or are you working so hard to become like one of the millions? And if you go to Instagram right now, I'm telling you, a lot of women are beautiful, don't get me wrong, but they're one of a million, you know, like, it's so crazy how a lot of women and men are like, we're unique human beings. There's only one of you. You may be similar to other people, but there's only one of you. And we're working so hard to break who we down authentically, to be someone that we're not, or to pretend to act like someone we're not, just because, hey, we want to be like these other guys who are being picked. I'm willing to bet that a lot of the 9s and 10s, they actually do find someone who might consider themselves a 5, and because that guy is just her style, and vice versa, you know. But because we're so programmed by social media and what we're so worried about what our friends think or how we'll look. All right, I'll tell you this. When I was 27, I'm 6'3". I went out with a girl who was about 4'10". And one of the things that was holding us back was I was worried because it looked like I knew she was a grown woman. She was older than I was, but she kind of looks like she's in middle school. And I worried about how it would look, you know. And if we're so worried about that, I mean, sometimes those things hold us back, because she was a good girl. I think she's married right now, and I wish nothing but the best for her. She was a cool person. Okay, so let's talk about solutions. Awareness and understanding, as per usual. It's in every one of my entries. Awareness and understanding of what's going on is one of the first steps to change, okay? Now that you know what's going on, let's put it this way. Any woman, all right, there's a video of a woman talking about, and she's a super fine woman, and she's talking about, oh, I'm keep getting ghosted. Any woman who's super hot and you're struggling to find a good man on a dating app, you really need to take a look in the mirror, okay? Especially if your inbox is filled with well over 10 guys.
But the majority of men are good men. Ooh, it's a very small percentage of men that are sleeping with all the women. Like, it's a very, like, if you want a guy that's over 6 foot, that's 15% of men. You want him to be cute, cut that in half. You want him to make money, cut that in half. It's a very small percentage of men that are sleeping with all the girls. Like, every girl has a guy in their friend zone that would treat them well, and they know would treat them well, and they know likes them. And it's like, we don't pick them. And then we're gonna cry because the guy we picked is bad to us, but you could have picked the guy in the friend zone.
Because right now you have a lot of power. Like, it's catered to you. It really is. All right, unless you're super overweight, super unattractive, or you have multiple children from multiple baby daddies, if you go on an online dating app right now, you'll have at least 5 guys, you know. And they're not the good-looking guys. Well, take a look at yourself in the mirror. Like, who do you think you are? And are they really that bad? They're just questions. I'm not doubting. Maybe you are a 10 or a 5, or maybe you are a 10 or 8. I'm not saying that you aren't. I'm just saying that you have options. Men are throwing themselves on you on these online dating sites, all right? So if you're struggling to find a good man there, you might need to check yourself. If you like who you are and you don't want to change, all power to you. If you think you're worth it, that you deserve the hottest, richest, tallest guys out there, I get it, go for it. But as I say in the manosphere, we encourage you to be informed. Know that the percentage of guys you're looking for, they are slim. And those guys have their pick of the litter. If you keep passing by the good guys while giving your bodies the Pookies and Chads into your youth or beauty fades, one day you're going to wake up and end up like this lady.
Hey, TikTok. You know, it's crazy because I joke a lot about being single, and while I'm getting ready for surgery and everything, it dawned on me that I'm 46 years old and I don't have a husband to take care of me.
Sure, some will cope by becoming cat and dog moms, drinking their nights away, or using antidepressants till they get through the week. And this is just a sad existence, right? That could have been avoided with a little bit of wisdom if people weren't so hard-headed and proud. I know our culture is constantly pushing everyone to level up and be boss babes, to never settle or be content, but I disagree with all of that. I found that if I found something I like to do, I wouldn't mind doing it for the rest of my life. Men like me aren't constantly looking for the best thing or wondering if we could do better. When I find my wife, she's all I'll ever need. All that said, dating sites are still a great way for couples to meet. It's an awesome tool that reduces the awkward, unwanted advances in real life. For those of us who don't like to go to bars or social events, it's a perfect way to meet others outside your circle of friends. Sad to say, just like with the hookup culture, women, again, have more power and control when it comes to dating apps, which is why a lot of good men see it as a waste of time since they aren't getting picked. I'll never forget a TV dating show where a couple came up and the host was like, "Oh, how did you two meet?" And the husband was like, "Well, I originally messaged her on a dating site, and 6 months later, she reached out to me and we went out on our first date." And it's like, dude, Like we could all tell. Like, I mean, even the wife and the host had a look on her face where you could tell they were thinking the same thing. That the wife clearly went out with other men, and when those others failed, then she settled for this guy. What I would say to the fellas on online dating sites is to spare yourself from putting too much effort in getting her attention. I know this might be contrary to what other people are saying. It's like, oh, you gotta use this fancy pickup line, you gotta ask her about these questions. It's like, no. Personally, I found, no, just don't do that, man. Like, give her a wink, say hello, but don't put any more than that. Because if she's interested in you, she went to your profile and checked you out, and she likes the way you look, she's going to engage you in conversation. She's not gonna let you slide by. You gotta have greater confidence in yourself too. All these women, I'm gonna talk about in my future post about how we're living in a gynocentric society, but you are valuable too. Men, you are valuable too. Not to mention, at a certain age, like I'm living my 30s. My cousin, he's 28, he's like, well, Rock, how's it feel being in your 30s? I'm like, dude, you're gonna love your 30s. I'm talking to men here. Men, we're gonna love our 30s. We have ample amount of time before to get married and to have children. We can have children well into our 50s. Women, not so much. That's why we pressuring down, hey, pick them while you're young, while you have that beauty, and while you have your beauty, and while you have those eggs, because it's not gonna be around forever. It's gonna fade. Your eggs are gonna dry up. So that's why we're increasingly putting pressure on women. Dude, pick the right man. Don't engage in hookup culture. Require marriage before you have sex. You know, these are just cool, wise tactics to use if you want to avoid being alone when you get older. For us confident, good men, speaking for myself, just not messaging everyone in some wide spray, throwing Hail Marys, hoping it lands somewhere. I picked you because I found you attractive. Your profile speaks to me and says, she sounds like wife material. All that said, personally, it's going to be a while before I try online dating again, mainly because I'm planning to join a new church community where I hope to find some ladies in real life. But if you're asking, where are all the good men at? Hopefully this provides some answers to why they are leaving dating apps. And I like to use it, leave you on this little TikTok video I saw because it makes me laugh every time.
I can't do this no more. I'm breaking up with you. Fuck it.
I'm finna start meditating, bro. Cause every time I open this app, I see some bullshit. Y'all can't all be rapper, NFL, NBA wise. Half of y'all ain't even cute. Stop acting outlandish. On my mama, y'all acting